Hey there, welcome back to the homestead. I'm here to share with you at long last the totals from the month of September. So let's go inside and we'll see what's growing right now and check out what we harvested last month. Here's how it looks in here. And so we got 20 ears of corn in September, and it is time to strip the rest. I have 3 dozen inside that I showed you, and Matt's parents came and we gave them armloads of fresh produce, including a bunch of corn. And then the Indian corn is making its ears. Those are not ready because those are not sweet corn. Those are dent corn for cornmeal. But they're sky high. These buttercup pumpkin vines are still pumpkining. And I got a 1.3 pound specimen off of here. And then got a 2.4, I think. Gave that one to Matt's mom, Diana. But there's at least 8 more ripening under the leaves. Yep, things start to look a little scraggly in the fall. Seed heads turn brown. The succession planting and chop and dropping is a never-ending story. But, onward and upward. We've got this new tree planted, and we have hooey. Over here in the corner, next to the new rosemary, this banana pepper, it gave us 1.2 pounds of banana peppers. And, they're pretty light. But that's round 2 setting on there. And on down the poblano pepper line. Still heavy with fruit. We got a good haul, almost 5 pounds, 4.96. Calling that 5 pounds. The tomato frenzy. These are the Johnny-come-latelys, but these were those seedlings that survived, and they got a very late start out here. Got some Romas and some Gardener's Delight, and these Gardener's Delight are so ripe and delicious when they're red. Down here are the ones from Extension. Got some round ones. I think those are like Celebrity or Early Girl, can't remember. And Romas. And as you can see, I was hard at work yesterday doing some pruning and trellising these back up. It is quite the jungle when left unattended, and then they kind of drag on the ground. But that produced that big bowl that I showed you at the beginning of the video. So see those ones? That was just heavy and dragging on the ground. And same with these Romas. There are hidden ones tucked back behind. And they just do so much better when you clear them out. And I took off some suckers. There's not enough time in the season for new beginning suckers to develop any fruit. Here's those round ones again, those slicers. Also, by cleaning up and pruning, I discovered several hornworms, and the turkeys and chickens really liked that, as well as being given the blemished or ruined fruits. So it was kind of a fun time feeding frenzy over here. They also got this tender sunflower head from the second wave of sunflowers. So for the month of September, we hauled 14 pounds of tomatoes. Huzzah! And I think we're gonna beat that record for the month of October. All right, now onwards to the low-growing jungle out here. And as I said, it's a never-ending battle to do the chop and dropping. You know, it's my version of weeding. Instead of pulling the weeds, I chop them and lay them down as mulch. And in September, these tattered cucumber vines really gave us gold. We got 24 pounds of cucumbers. I did not differentiate between the regular little kind of dill pickle looking and these Armenians. So there's some overdue Armenians still out here. Since I started giving the poultry the garden waste, or the parings, they've been tuned in. So they have been pruning the outside, but that's kind of like letting your neighbors have what hangs over the fence. Yep, 24 pounds of cucumbers. They grow so fast, these Armenians do. And then the next thing is what's hanging on the fence here, which you can tell that the poultry has pecked the lower portion of these bean plants, but pole beans, it's time to pick them again. But for the month of September, 12 pounds of pole beans, of green beans. 12 pounds. Yep, 12 pounds of these bad boys. And they're not just planted here. There's bush beans along these rows that are now chock full of more beans, more green beans. There's more down at the end of the row, and then mixed into the corn patch. Yep, here in the corn patch, tucked away, more green beans. And so we got 12.2 pounds of green beans in September, and I gave a lot of those away, but I've also got a bunch in the refrigerator and have served a bunch. They're so tender and delicious. And these leeks keep on giving their goods. In last month, we harvested 3.7 pounds. And it's become the household favorite to make potato leek soup. And of course, I grind in a bunch of grated zucchini as well. And I make a potato zucchini leek cheese. Here's the view from the back end. And did plant pomegranates in these side pits. This one bit the dust, I think. I'm not going to dig it up. It might come back. You never know with trees. It is just a tiny rooted cutting. This one is doing pretty good though. And then this next one, the third one, is the best. Yeah, that one's gonna make it. So I expect those to die down when it freezes, but they're gonna have a cone of mulch. Gonna keep stacking the wood around so that the mulch doesn't touch the plant, but it'll be a cocoon. And then back to these perennials. The fever few. That thing has turned dark green, putting on lots of new growth. This little baby elm tree, good as gold. And then back here, It's an elecampane, which is some sort of sunflower type of thing that creates a bunch of roots. And so that should perennialize as well in this corner. And I've got it well mulched back here. Thinking about cover crops for the winter, but I have my hands full with trying to succession plant what I've got already cultivated. More green beans, of course. Oof, these okras, they're ridiculous too. One day, they're, look at that, a ladybug. One day they're this size, which is a little premature. You can get a little bit more out of them. And then, you turn around and you get the fibrous type. It is a battle for seeking the sun. The okra have to get up on their tiptoes above the ocean of squash plants. And I'm not complaining. Last month we got 3 pounds of okra. This month is shaping up to be even more as they hit their peak. Our frost date is the 15th of October, but it looks, judging by the forecast, we're going to have a longer warm spell, more time for more okra. Hi, Amarok. So, the clear winner so far this growing season has been, unsurprisingly, zucchini. Last year, it was so pathetic. I was glad to get a female flower that didn't just die back, but now it's a Zucchini of the Day award. And as always, you turn your back and they go from being just a pollinated flower into a baseball bat. And we have been eating zucchini with almost every meal. We've had zucchini cinnamon bread. As I said before, we've added zucchini to the potato leek soup made with our own stewing chickens turned to broth, and then I debone them. Yep. Also just roasting giant zucchinis on the half shell to make squash yachts. That's been awesome. Over here, look at that. The Magdalena big cheese is starting to ripen. That's supposed to turn just a buff yellow color. Bush beans on either side. And one more Magdalena has set, even larger than the first one. There are little baby female stripy squash balls on all of these runners. But we only have a week or two before frost, and then this tentacle monster will die back. And I'm thinking right before that frost occurs, I'll be collecting these young and tender babies, and we'll just have to have those all at once as kind of a summer squash blossom sort of dish that I will make up on the spot, as always. Oh, looky here, we have a culprit. Barbara's chicken chicks have been rampaging in my garden. And so I'm going to have to weave something to prevent them from coming through this field fence. They're adorable, but destructive. I like giving them the treats, I just don't like them coming in here and doing this. Mangling the Swiss chard. You give them a few scraps, they get a taste for it, and they come in here and they'll eat it down to the ground. So we got 2¼ pounds of this before they discovered how delicious it is. And I have more planted here and there, and I'm going to plant some more before the freeze. Yep, always succession planting as much as possible. Here's some romaine lettuce. These are cut and come again, as always. So I've taken a little bit from this end, and yep, see regrowth. And then I have the butter variety. This stuff really likes to grow back when you cut it. I've cut all of these heads off. This one on the end, I cut that head off twice, and you can't even tell. So last month we got, I just read it and then I forgot it. We got about a pound of lettuce. This month we've already surpassed that. So it's the season for leafy greens, nice and cool, nights in the 40s. So far, warm days in the mid to high 80s, kind of cuckoo. I am loving it. I will take it. And completing the survey of what we harvested last month, there were 2 pounds of radishes out here that are now in our bellies. Kitties! No fighting for saltbush supremacy. There's enough saltbush for all the cats. All 3 of you have room. Be nice. I need to water more reliably because closest to the end of the corn row there is a baby spinach germinating here on this stub, but that looks to be about it. And it's about time to terminate these. Just gonna leave the ones up that the pole beans need for structure. These 2 row ends also have been seeded, I want to say with beets maybe, or maybe radishes, can't remember, but pretty deep mulch. I bet there's some germinations happening down in there. We'll see what comes to pass. And evidently I wasn't sick of cucumbers because I planted a cucumber at either end of this row. Both are in flower, and I did see baby ones starting on here. Yes. Yep, delicious little pickle. Future pickle. I made sweet pickles. I made a whole bunch of pints and quarts. Also gave some of those to Matt's mom and dad. They said they liked them. Basil, kind of crowded, but this fall growth is slower than the summer, I guess. Beans to harvest. These Napa cabbages have been really attacked by, I'm calling them flea beetles. I never had flea beetles before, but there's tiny beetles the size of fleas. Beets, they haven't really bulbed yet. And the tentacle monster, Magdalena Big Cheese, to rule them all. Some strangely sickly basil compared to the other. Cilantro ready to harvest. I saw a fresh corn and cilantro dish on Pinterest I want to copy. And I can't remember which is broccoli, which is cauliflower. I've got some of each. I showed you the romaine. Over here is another type of native pumpkin, and it went from 0 to having 4 or 5 of these. That one I would say is approaching a volleyball, not quite there yet. And then over there you can see the muskmelon. That's a native cantaloupe. I've got 4 or 5 of these, And they're developing that characteristic cantaloupe texture, waiting for them to sweeten up. The immature ones are smooth. And I haven't even talked about tomatillos. The tomatillos over by the tomatoes look pretty bad. They got eaten down really bad. But these side tomatillos are ace. All right, the artichoke has put on its second flower spike. Time to harvest those. I let these ones go to seed just because I wasn't sure if I would get any more, and I don't know how this will overwinter here. So that's kind of an insurance policy for next growing season. And that's about everything to show you here in Graham's Yard Garden. So what was the grand total of harvest during the month of September? Well, guys, it was 107 pounds of produce plus 20 ears of corn. We are on the road to abundance. Many cheers and gratitude for all the blessings. Mulch the like button. Cheers and blessings.